it was easier.
Yeah.
Hang on. No, this is chief, all right? Next item up on the agenda is final reading of ordinance 4435, which would amend the city code section 9-302.
You have before you just the proposal for a final reading on ordinance 9-302, which allows our municipal judge to issue arrest warrants rather than sending those affidavits and complaints to a pro tem. It's to replace the existing ordinance to give him the authority to do so.
Now we're doing this presently like this, right?
Right now, yes. No, we are sending it to a pro tem right now
Right.
until we get this ordinance
And
passed.
how long have we been doing that?
Forever.
Always.
Well, why would we want to change that?
Well, it's delaying the process, it's costing additional money. The Judge Maxwell.
You just now figured that out?
That way to explain to it,
No, I don't forget.
the past judge felt that this was the proper interpretation.
Yeah.
The new judge, municipal judge,
He's the one that can request it.
feels that it can be done this way and more efficiently. Does that kind of summarize it?
It does. I'm really not aware of any delay, but I do know that we paid a warrant judge like $75 to review something that Judge Maxwell doesn't believe we need to pay a warrant judge to review. So this is certainly a proper interpretation, and from a legal standpoint, I have no objection to amending the ordinance.
Any further questions?
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to amend ordinance number 4436.
35.
Oh, yeah, it is 4435. I'm sorry. Is it 4435?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. We have a motion by Commissioner Harrison. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Warren. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor? You're good. Thanks, Chief. Next item on the agenda is first and final reading of ordinance 4438, amending the city code 5-101 and C-501 pertaining to solicitors and peddlers. Debbie.
The mayor has signed a letter waiving the first reading of this ordinance and scheduling it for final reading this evening. This is a result of our work sessions we had September 10 and October 2nd. We talked about annual solicitor's license for local merchants. The ordinances will amend the definitions to provide for a local and a non-local itinerant businesses, and also the fees for that. The fee will stay the same for the non-local, and the $1,200 a year for the local.
And Debbie, you have talked with the gentleman that was here.
Yeah, Mr. Allen, I visited with him a couple times since our last meeting. He started questioning about the money, why I went, from Garden City's 365 to this. When I explained it'd be $100 a month, he'd already spent $5,000 this year for licenses. He kind of said, okay, that sounds good to me. So we kind of left it at that. There's going to be some work that's going to have to be done to keep track of the number of people that are out on the streets at any given time, and make sure that we do the backgrounds every 6 months. So there is some work that's going to have to be done, and I think we can justify the money that we're charging because of that.
Any other questions? Any questions for staff? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we do the first and final reading of ordinance number 4438, amending City Code Section 5-101 and Exhibit C, Section C-501 pertaining to solicitors and peddlers, and adopt ordinance number 4438 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harrison with a second by Commissioner Warren. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed, the motion carries 5-0. Next item is a first reading of ordinance 4436, which would amend City Code 3-113 pertaining to alcoholic liquor store hours. This is This, Debbie, go ahead, I won't explain it, you can.
Your Honor, Commissioners, it's been brought to my attention that the state law allows liquor stores to be open till 11 o'clock. Our current law, our current code allows it to be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then 10 o'clock on Saturday. This would allow liquor stores to be open till 11 o'clock Monday through Saturday, and there's some holidays that they would have to be closed. That's just per the state statute.
But that would be their option.
That's their option, right.
It's not mandatory
Not mandatory.
of liquor stores, but they can remain
Right.
open till 11.
Right. It would allow
Because the
that
state
provision
allows.
that they could stay open to 11 if they so wish to be open.
Yeah, state law currently allows them to stay open till 11. City codes are stricter than that. This would just allow them to stay open to the state statutes.
It's absolutely up to, it's their option if they want to stay open that late, but this would give them that ability to do that if they wanted to.
Mr. Apple, would you have anything, any comment?
Would you like to address this certain item, Gordon? On this one?
Is the wet bar open yet? It's totally, I mean, it's.
You have to come up here, Golden.
State your name and address in an audible tone for the record, please, even though we called you out.
My name's Gordon Appleby. I live in Liberal, Kansas. Personally, I'm fine with the state laws the way it is, and I'm fine with the city ordinance the way it is. If you guys want to allow it to stay open later, that's fine. Of course, I'm half a block from a competitor, so if they're open, I'm going to be open. That's just the nature of the beast. Do I want to stay open later? Do I want to stay at work later? No. Do I want to play employees later? No. But it's up to the consumer. I mean, the consumer runs my business. Consumers run your business. So it's totally up to you. Just my personal opinion. I like to have a family life too.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you. Anything else?
No.
Thank you.
Any further comments from the commission on store hours amending the city code?
Why is there a reason? Is there a reason to change it? I mean,
We had one liquor store request, one gentleman request that we go to the state hours.
Wanted to know why we were more restricted than the state allows.
I personally am fine with the way we are. I mean, it's up to whatever. I mean,
I could go either way, but if there's not an overwhelming request for it to be changed, I don't see much reason in changing it.
I made several phone calls today regarding this item and the next agenda item. And of the owners that I talked to, I only found one that was willing to, or that was wanting both agenda items changed. I mean,
I really think if there was an outcry for it to be changed, I think they probably should have been here to ask for it to happen. So.
I agree. I think if it was that important, they probably would have showed up.
Yeah, I don't need them to stay longer, so I need somebody to ask me for them to stay longer. And I guess if they're not here, then it's fine with me to close at 9.
Plan accordingly.
I'll be done before 9, so and they won't see me anyway.
I was asked numerous times to bring this up, so I did.
We can always, and if
can always revisit
they
it.
ever come back to you in a group and ask for it again, I'd say bring it again, but the way it is right now. And
so I guess I'll ask for a motion. If there is none, it dies for a lack of a motion. First reading of ordinance 4436, amending City Code 3-113 pertaining to alcoholic liquor store hours dies for lack of a motion. Next item up on the agenda is agenda item 13, the first reading of ordinance 4437, authorizing Sunday sales of alcoholic liquor and cereal malt beverage in original container. Debbie?
Again, this is at the request of liquor store owner wanting to run this by the commission and the public to see if we wanted to allow Sunday sales of alcoholic liquor and cereal malt beverage in original container on Sundays. And again, there's some holidays that are not allowed. If the ordinance would be adopted, it would need to be published for 2 consecutive weeks, and following the final publication, there would be a 60-day protest period. If there is no protest, no petition filed, then it would become lawful. And if there is a petition, then it would has to be 5% of the voters who voted in the last presidential election, which would have been November of 2012. 4,254 votes were cast within the city limits at that time, so it would require approximately 215 signatures for the protest to be valid. And then that would go before a ballot question for the voters to decide.
So there's no action to be taken on this, really?
We would just have to move it to a second reading, which would then start the protest period if they so desired.
But until somebody presents it, unless somebody feels differently, and as far as I'm concerned, until somebody presents a petition or really a serious movement to change it, I don't see any reason to address that.
And again, that was one of the questions I asked of the liquor store owners, and only one was in favor of Sunday sales. One of the comments was, sure, I would sell product on Sunday, but it would hurt my Saturday sales. So it was a wash.
And
but like I said, that's up to the individual stores if they choose to. But since I agree with Commissioner Harrison.
It's hard for me to imagine that people would buy more just because it was open on Sunday, but maybe they would. I don't know.
I called the State Department of Revenue to find out if there were any communities around liberal Southwest Kansas. She said Satanta and Plains, and I didn't check with about Kismet, but I've heard that Kismet is also. But Garden City, Dodge City, Hugoton, Ulysses, none of them have Sunday sales. Just for the record.
Again, I would call for the motion, the first reading of ordinance 4437.
Your Honor, I move that we advance ordinance 4437 to a second reading.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Okay.
Motion dies for the lack of a second.
For the record.
Next item up on the agenda is the Mid-America Air Museum Theater Project. Mr. Burt, I believe, is in attendance tonight. Thank you for showing up tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Just a quick report that Phase 1 of the theater renovation at the museum, you recall, the foundation provided $55,000 for that, and the city provided funds up to $14,000 to prepare the floor. And with that good news, the floor is finished now and ready to be repaired. Some of the new technology, if you will, that we found to do that restoration may be applicable to some of the things done in the city. So it may well have ended up one of those nice things, saving some money in other places. Stage, furnishings, video projection, all been ordered, and the theater has been painted. The south wall, the new doorway, that is in progress and should occur this weekend. My purpose here tonight is to approach the Commission for general authority so that we would not need to, as a rule, come back on the remainder of the expenditures available, approximately $29,000 that are still in the bank, if you will, for the project, roughly $1,500 that might go for the south wall paneling, $10,000 towards technology to include teleconferencing, some electric drops, perhaps internet enhancement that I visited with Tim about, $5,000 estimated for sound and acoustics, $10,000 for lighting, and roughly $2,500 for further customizing of furnishings and so on, so that, for instance, the new tables that we would get, how many times do folks go to their conferences and they have to have some place to plug their computer in. So we're continuing our quest to finish this phase 1 of the theater through the generosity of the city and the foundation. And that's the nature of my request to the commission.
Any questions for Mr. Burtz? Not, I'd entertain a motion to allow him to expend the rest of the funds for theater renovations.
How long does when are you the first phase? When do you anticipate the first phase being completed?
I'm optimistic that we will have it all done before the Sharks arrive.
Oh, great.
And so the Sharks arrive January 16th, and I'm hopeful it will be, we will have this put to bed before
Do you
Sharks
contract this out to local people, or do you have people in place?
Actually, all of this has been done either by city and volunteer crews to date. The furnishings were from Southern Office, the stage, the video projection, the paint was purchased locally. Southwest Glass is doing the wall, so I'd say yes, ma'am. Virtually
Great.
Everything at this point, and we probably look to seeing it all done. B&B, for example, is coming out to remove some surprise electrical conduits in that 30-year-old building that we weren't aware of. But our interest is, of course, to support the local business community.
I just want to let the commission, and maybe Mr. Burke can expand on this as well, that last year we held the robotics competitions. Part of it was in the theater, but this year I believe we will be utilizing the activity center for those competitions since it will be under construction at that time. County's graciously allowed us to do that there.
Yes, sir. What we've decided to do really is marry both events, the junior and the senior robotics events, to March 28th. And we should, the program continues to double every year. We'll probably see 1,000 to 1,500 folks for that event, and it just continues to grow.
Any other questions for Mr. Burke? So none, call for the motion.
Your Honor, I make a motion that we authorize the expenditure of the remaining project funds for the renovation of the Mid-America Air Museum Theater.
Motion by Commissioner Willem with a second by Vice Mayor Aragon. Any further discussion or any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Build us a theater, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Burke.
Next item up on the agenda, we have a two-parter, Solid Waste Department. I believe we have Frank Holman in attendance. Part A is yard cleanup. Mr. Holman.
Hello, Commissioners, Mayor, Commissioners, Vice Mayor. In regards to yard cleanup, I'm in the process of trying to get the bullpen. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's east of my shop there. Get it cleaned up, and we have 5 trucks that are in that area. Some go back as far as 1984. That we continue to have no more parts for them, okay? We done salvaged them out, used all I could, different things like that. And I went out and did talk to a couple of salvage yards, people that got salvage yards, and see about getting rid of that stuff. And I ended up talking to Moffin's, which they gave us a quote of $8,500 that they would come and haul the trucks off and everything. And then I'm asking that with the money that we would collect from that, would go into solid waste reserves, trying to clean up my yard back there as far as that part there. So I would just ask permission that we accept Moffin's offer and have them to see about picking those trucks up.
Any questions for Mr. Holman?
Did you work on those trucks when they were running?
Yes, sir.
So you were keeping them around for sentimental purposes, and you're willing to get rid of them, huh?
I'm willing to depart. Well, I got new ideas going on.
And that will be presented in Part B.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
And Part B.
Well, hang on, we need a motion. We need to
okay.
I'll make a motion to allow Solid Waste Department to dispose of their trucks with Muffin.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Harrison with a second by Commissioner Warren. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed, motion carries 5-0.
Appreciate it.
Part B, I want you to say this loud. I want you to look at the camera. I want you to tell everybody what you're doing. My phone has been ringing off the wall on this Part B.
Yes, I know what you mean. Okay.
I get bugged about that too.
All right, good. Yeah. But at this time, we're still, currently working to revitalize the City of Liberal solid waste and recycling. We want to get it back going again. And in the process of that, we are looking at another location, and I have a few thoughts to a location, but we're still trying to, get some numbers together. But just to give you a little heads up, I have been focusing on over to a central area over by the police station where my shop is at 118 East 4th, by the solid waste over there. And, I feel that it'll operate more efficient over there from what we were doing, since we are recycling, and we'd be able to monitor it also a lot better than it has been in the past, because it did turn into a kind of a salvage yard, from the location that it was in. So, but anyway, I'd like to return later on with some figures and different things like that to let you know what it would cost to get everything, if we go that direction with your approval, that we can make it happen and I could come at a later date. But we do plan on trying to get it back going again.
All right, thank you, Frank. And I think having it located more accessible, I think a lot more people would utilize recycle.
Yes. And should there be a need for assistance, Frank was taking that in consideration with the location.
Right.
That it would be most likely some manpower there at all times. So should there be someone that's needing assistance, they could ask.
Right.
Ask, and they'd be glad to assist.
Thank you, Frank.
All right. Thank you all.
You bet. All right. Wow, we're down to agenda item number 16, which would be city manager's report. We'll divert to Chris since you've been gone for 10 days. No, go ahead.
Mayor, Commissioner, thank you for all your hard work and dressing. And Debbie, I want to thank for bringing this to the Commission's attention. Some concerns, I knew you as a commission will always listen. It is one of those that a lot goes into the thought process, and not only for one, but for the many. So thank you for doing that. I will say that progress by the departments, we have everybody involved in the, while I was gone, I guess a question came up about the ball fields and construction. Today was out at those, and they were working on those. Things are falling in place. It is one of those that materials are on their way. Backstop should be here. They're arriving from California in the next 3 weeks. So we have the materials on the way. If you've gone out there, we had Parks Department. They were working on the final grade of the Cal Ripken, which is up on 15th Street. And you can see the progress that is going down on the 4 softball diamonds down the complex. They're moving across and doing that. It is one of those that we are trying to move dirt the least amount as possible. And we will have some different grades in the field. But if you'll notice, the men's diamond, which would be the northwest diamond, it is considerably lower out there. So they are in process of moving that, and we'll still see that progress going on. Hopefully, very near future, and I want to say within 2 weeks, that you should see the irrigation up on 15th Street. I don't want to pin anybody down because of weather, but this progress will go throughout. Eventually, the property will close, but this will go throughout the winter. What we're doing is we're working from the inside out, and so the irrigation and the sod that we'll be using, that's what you'll see first, and then you'll see the backstops come, the fencing come that goes to the outside, which we can do dugouts and that all through the winter. So this is our primary thrust. to get that done. And then throughout the winter, you will see different items show up at the fields as they are made or constructed, but you'll see those, and those are not subject to weather. So it's going along as planned, and Joe informed me there was some questions about whether it was going to happen, wasn't going to happen. Other than that, appreciate all the departments. They've been doing real well. We are getting into more and more of the autumn type season, and departments will be diversifying and doing other projects as we're going into the slower part of the year. So I'm real proud of them, and I've seen lists of things that they want to do, and it's pretty amazing. So we're going to have another busy winter where we will be active throughout the winter. So I appreciate all that they do, and if there's any questions by the commission.
Commission, have any questions for the city manager?
Can I ask, I guess, your plan, you're still planning on trying to get sod on the two fields on 15th before
Yes.
winter?
What we've been given with the sod and that our window of opportunity goes clear up to December. And which surprised. And of course, I'm not a sod person. But basically, when we have the irrigation in, is we will manually water all the fields throughout the winter. And, on cold spells, we won't put out, but we'll drain them off, but we will put always as much water as we possibly can throughout the winter. And I said that as far as soil temperatures as they drop, it'll less activity, but it will still keep it alive. And so we're looking at everything on schedule.
Good. As far as, I'm just asking questions so I can know, maybe somebody else wants to know any.
Oh, yeah.
Backstops are chain link or netting?
Netting.
Good.
What you'll see, and those are, like say, coming in within the next 3 weeks, they will be 30 foot. Because of the way the fields are configured, you'll have a 20 back and 40 foot wings on the side, but they will be 30 foot high to the top of the backstop. It will have a 3 foot backstop wall, and that will be padded. So it'll be a different feeling on all the fields, because some of the backstops we have in softball are 12 feet high. So you'll now go out and have a 30 foot high backstop.
Keep a lot more balls on the field, and the padding is actually, and if they're going to, on all the fields you're playing on?
We're going ahead and do it on all the fields. It's not as necessary as for softball, but because of those being other
multi-use,
we just thought we would go ahead and pad those. And that way there wouldn't be any question.
That would be nicer than some places, most places we play then. Because most of them don't have, even Dodge City doesn't have, there's that concrete curb back there where you hit the fence and the ball.
You'll definitely feel the presence, and especially with the 40-foot wings and 30-foot high. Softballers, like I say, have a 12-foot backstop in one place, and it's 10 feet to the backstop. It'll be 25 feet, so they'll actually feel they're walking out on a larger field. So it'll be pretty impressive, I think, all the way around.
Yeah,
kids too.
Any other questions for the city manager? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to items from commissioners. Commissioner Warren, we'll start with you.
Well, since I already asked a few questions, I guess I don't really have anything left. So I just, it's been long enough. I think I'll skip any more tonight.
Commissioner Harrison.
I just want to congratulate the city manager on finding a woman that would put up with it. and offer my condolences to her. But, seriously, congratulations. That's wonderful. But,
Thank you.
Also, I want to thank the staff for all the work that's been done on the website. I know you guys probably have gotten tired of hearing me ask for that, but it looks like you're headed in the right direction, and something that's going to be that we all can take some pride in, so.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of how they negotiated, and being fair to that, they did feel that the progress that has been made as far as the municipal code, all that's been put computerized.
Good.
And they feel that that will assist in the amount of time that it takes over. So.
One of the things that was going on while he was doing his presentation was I happened to pull up Manhattan's website on my phone, and that thing works pretty slick. So I'm excited about what it'll do for us. And having said that, thank all the city staff for what they do every day, and appreciate all the hard work. And I'm thankful for the rain.
Commissioner Williman.
I don't have anything.
Vice Mayor Aragon.
Excited about that website too. I think that'll be really nice. I brought up Hot Springs while we were doing the presentation on my phone. If I can get to it that easy and use it, it's pretty nice. I just want to say that I was out of town for a couple of days, just a few days, and come back. It's so exciting to see dirt moving and the fields of progress, and the new apartments and stuff like that. It's pretty nice. So thank you, city and all the staff, and the nice letter we got in here from the Liberal Police Department. I think that's good stuff. So
yeah,
thank you very much.
And I'll keep mine short as well.
Chris,
go ahead.
Just offering up to the website real quick too. I know they did mention tonight that it could take as long as 4 to 4.5 months to go live on our new site. But I do want to give some recognition to Tim. We asked him to wear many, many hats, and a lot on his own time. He has gotten our current website up to a point where at least we have something viable for people to look at. He did do a lot of work on it. However, it's like I said, we do ask him to wear many, many hats. So it's, I think it's great tonight that we'll have some ability to move forward with someone who all they specialize in is websites. But like I said, I just wanted to offer that up. That he's done a really great job.
One vital to the website is keeping it current too. So I know we'll do a great job there. We've got a great staff. I'll keep mine short. Like Dean said, it's great to see dirt moving. Excited for the apartment complexes that are going in there off of 11th Street. Want to thank and congratulate firefighter Tanking on 13 years of service. Didn't look like it was an easy decision for him to step down. But life happens sometimes. So congratulations to him. And with Fire Prevention Month coming up, I know our firefighters will be busy on a daily basis going into the schools to educate, and that is key, because as parents we sometimes learn from our children when they bring that paper home and that escape route that you have to fill out. That makes you stop and think. So I want to thank those that came tonight to speak. Always encourage and welcome those that have any concerns with what's going on to show up and voice those concerns, and to bring a different perspective maybe than what we have thought about or researched. So I want to thank everyone that did come forward this evening. And again, congratulations to Stephanie, and I guess Mark too. But anyway, I do want to thank you guys and wish you a long and happy life together. So with that, we'll move on to the vouchers. Agenda item number 18.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the vouchers in the amount of $1,021,579.69.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, a second by Commissioner Williman. Any further discussion on the vouchers?
Page 2, line 17.
What's these peanuts doing? Seeing no legitimate discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioner.
Thank you.